Hello and welcome back to my channel. Thank you for tuning back in for the When We Were Young festival update. I did get to go on the 29th, which was on Saturday. It is now Monday, October 31st, so happy Halloween. I feel like absolute shit. I feel like I got hit by a train. My throat really hurts, so I'm drinking tea to help with my sore throat. But let's get down to it. So Saturday morning, wake up. I get like a burst of energy, and I'm like, I'm gonna make me a shirt like for the festival. So I did make a MCR inspired t-shirt. On the back it said "Thank you for the venom," and then on the front it had like the Halloween like vampire teeth on it. It was like a pocket-sized one. So I quickly put that together. Time actually went by pretty fast, and I was like, oh my god, I really need to start getting ready. So we actually left around the same time that the gates opened up at around like 11:30, and we still had to run to the bank to go get cash out. So we were like, oh shit, well, hope the lines aren't long. So we go to the bank, and then we make our way down to Resorts World where we were going to park. So prior to us going to the festival, we had joined When We Were Young festival like Facebook group, and it was like giving like updates on like, you know, where people are parked, you know, for the festival, you know, what hotels people are staying at that are at good rates, you know, just like a good like what to do if you're going to the festival type group. So we get to Resorts World, and we're going to go park. And lo and behold, as soon as we get there, there's a sign that says event parking $40. And we're like, oh shit, I guess we have to pay for parking. So when we pull up, they're not taking payment. So we're like, oh, well, maybe they're going to accept the payment like as we leave like the parking structure, which is going to be like later on in the day. So we're like, okay, no big deal. So we go ahead, we park, we make our way down, and we still have to walk to the actual venue, which is like a mile and a half. It actually wasn't that bad. A lot of people were complaining that they had to walk, but as a Vegas local, I actually didn't mind it. It was fine. It was nothing. So we get to the festival like entrance, which was on the boulevard. And as soon as we get in, there's like a shit ton of people. There's like lines everywhere. There was like a merch booth off to the side, and there was also like multiple lines to like get in, which is fine. And if you've been to concerts or like festival, you know, concerts or shows or whatever you want to call them, it's to be expected. So it was no big deal. It was like 45 minutes to an hour maybe, but it went by pretty fast. So as soon as we get to more towards the front of the line, they start checking for IDs, and I think they were checking to see, you know, if the person that they were checking the IDs for were over 21, and the people that were got like wristbands, I think, for like alcohol. But we don't drink, but it was no big deal. It was whatever. So we go through the metal detector, and then we get in. I kind of had like a mini heart attack because when I pulled up my tickets on my phone, the first time that he scanned it, it didn't scan. And I was like, oh my God, are the tickets that I got like a dupe? But they weren't. Everything ended up being okay. One of the first things that we did when we got there was we did take a photo op, which I'll post right here. And then we decided that the first band that we were going to go see was Atreyu, which was they were on the Stripe stage. So we make our way over there, and as we're walking to the stage, there's like booths off to the side, and there's like the food stands. We really didn't stop to like look at anything or to shop or buy merch or whatever. We just went straight to where the band was that we wanted to go see. So we get to the Stripe stage, and we caught like the tail end of Acceptance. We saw them play like maybe 2 or 3 songs, and I'll post it here. I keep losing. right after that, Atreyu came on, and as Acceptance was like finishing up their set, I was telling like my husband, like, let's try and make it like to the front. And I always try and do that whenever I go to a show because I'm short, and whenever I'm in the crowd, I can't see anything. So I'm 4'9". If I'm stuck behind somebody, I literally only see the person in front of me. Like I can't see anything, the stage, the monitor, nothing. So I was lucky enough to make it to the front. So I'm up against the barricade when Atreyu comes on, and it was fucking amazing. And I wish I could have caught it um, on video, but there was a part where they were singing a song, and I was like singing at the singer, like I was like, yeah, and he pointed at me and he was singing at me, and I'm like, oh my god, I wish I could have caught that on camera, but I didn't. Again, I'll post videos here. It was a great show. They did play a lot of like, I think like their newer stuff, and I'm not too familiar with it. I'm more familiar with like some of their older stuff, like the albums that came out early 2000s, which is fine. It was still a good show. This was the first time that I had seen them play with Brandon as the lead singer. I've only ever seen them play one other time when I was younger, and it was with, I believe his name is Alex. But it was a good fucking show. They came out into the audience. There was a part where Brandon, the lead singer, went and he was like in the mosh pit, and I'm like, oh my god, I've never seen that before. But everyone was like super respectful, and like, you know, they didn't hurt him. Like he was fine, and it was great. It was amazing. One of the things that I noticed, that as the band was playing, the security guards were actually handing out water, and that was the first time that I've ever been to a show where they were taking care of the crowd. Like I've been to Warped Tour, like when I was younger I went to Ozfest, like Project Revolution, like some pretty big festival concerts, and this was the first time that I had seen like security guards actually taking care of the audience. And they were like, you know, we don't want you to get dehydrated, and we don't want you guys passing out. So they were handing out water. Not only were they handing out water, but they were handing out like pretty decent water. They were handing out like Liquid Death, and then they were handing out like the cardboard water, and I'm like, ooh, some bougie shit. But you know, it was, you know, nice to see that they were actually taking care of like the fans. And so by the time Atreyu's over, you know, the crowd behind us was like already massive. When we first got there, there was like barely anyone there. So we're like, oh, I guess we came at a good time so that we can get up to the front. We did end up meeting up with our friends that gave us the tickets, and we, you know, stood and chatted for a little bit. But they wanted to see certain bands that we necessarily didn't want to see. And so they were like, you know, it was, you know, good seeing you, and you don't have to, you know, don't feel obligated to stay with us just because we gave you the tickets. And we're like, okay, you know, cool. We kind of took it as the opportunity, like now is like a great time to like go to the bathroom and get something to eat before we head to, the main stage where we're going to go see the rest of the bands, because we might end up being there like all day. So we make our way down to like kind of like where the front entrance is at of the festival, and there's a bunch of like food stands, and we were kind of like, okay, well, what do we want to eat? A lot of people had been complaining like on the Facebook group that we had joined, that the lines for food were like super long. And I think it just kind of really depends on like what you wanted to eat and what you were willing to stay in line for. For me, I was like, I really don't want to stay in line, and I really don't care what I eat as long as I get something in my body, because I know that once we get to where we're going to be, I'm not going to want to leave, and we're probably going to end up staying there all day. So now is the opportunity to eat. So I chose like the shortest line that I can find, and there was like only like two people in line, and it was for like hot and spicy chicken sandwiches. And so I was like, is this good? And we agreed, yeah, that's fine. And so this is what we ended up buying. It was $20 per plate. So we got two, and then we got 2 cans of water. We were in line less than like 5 minutes maybe, and for everything with the water included was like $50. And I was like, that's a lot for festival food. But we were like, whatever. We got, our sandwich, we got our fries, we got our drink. Let's just kill it, and then let's make it to where we're gonna be. And so we did. And then he took the opportunity to go to the bathroom. We're like, okay, let's go. And so we had talked previously, like, okay, what bands do we want to see? And so a lot of the bands that we wanted to see were either on the pink stage or on the black stage. And we did want to see a lot of the other bands playing on the other stages. But of course, it kind of came down to like the main bands, like the main events. Like for my husband, it was like A Day to Remember. And for me, it was MCR. And it was like, okay, well, if we want to see these bands and we want to get a good spot, we need to go now. So by the time we get there, it's already crowded. Um, Now, mind you, again, I'm short. So we get there and Dashboard Confessional is playing. And I'm glad I was able to catch like the tail end of that performance. But as every band was ending their set, like one would come on and end, people would leave the crowd. And I would take that opportunity to kind of like sneak my way. Like as they're coming out, I'm going in to the crowd. I would sneak my way further up to the front of the barricade, because, of course, I cannot see. So, um, the way that they had it set up for the main stages, the black and the pink stage, is that it was the stage, it was um, the VIP pit, and then it was barricaded off. There was a walkway, and then a barricade, and then it was the general admission side. So we had general admission tickets, so that's where I was at. So I ended up getting up against the general admission barricade, and that was the furthest that I was going to be able to get, which I was happy with, because at least I was able to see the stage and the monitors, like the screens, and I was able to see who was playing. So we did get to see Dashboard Confessional, AFI, Jimmy Eat World, Pierce the Veil, Bring Me the Horizon, A Day to Remember, Paramore, Taking Back Sunday, Death Cab for Cutie, Bright Eyes. Like, we saw a lot of bands. One of the things that I was super just heartbroken about was I am a huge, huge Death Cab for Cutie and Bright Eyes fan. And when those bands came on, the crowd just kind of like sat down, and the the vibe of the crowd was, who the fuck are these guys? Fucking country? Like, what is this? I even read somewhere that someone yelled at Death Cab for Cutie, "You fucking suck." And I'm like, that is just so, like, I would never. I've been listening to them since I'm 34. I've been listening to them since I was like 15. Um, they were fucking amazing. such a beautiful performance. Loved the music selection, like the songs that they had played, and you can tell that they try to cater to the crowd because it was a music festival that, some of the lineup, like they played after um like Pierce the Veil. Like, you know, the audience was not geared towards, that kind of band, so you can tell that they try to cater to like some of their hits. Um and I still loved it, and you can tell they were kind of like let down, and um they're like, we don't even know why we're here, but if you know the song, sing along. This is kind of like one of those songs where people typically do sing along. And when they finished their set, they kind of like just walked off. You could tell they were kind of bummed. But all in all, it was a beautiful performance. Bright Eyes, on the other hand, of course, like Bright Eyes is getting like a ton of shit right now because of how when I say he, I mean Connor Oberst, was acting on stage. And I'll post a video here.
I fucking hate this place. This is literally my worst nightmare. I know you're not from here. I have very like real friends that are from here who are amazing. So I don't think it's but like when you look around, I mean you can't tell me you just don't see like the end of days like when you look around, right? Fake fucking pyramids, fake Eiffel Towers. I mean, you can't tell me you don't think this is the end of humanity right here, right? If you can't see that, you're fucking blind. Anyway, doesn't matter. You guys don't give a fuck. We're called Bright Eyes. We're from Omaha, Nebraska.
I love you, Connor! And I just feel really bad because he's just fucking brilliant when he comes to like his songwriting and like just the music and the fucking albums like that I've listened to like since I was in high school, and I still actively listen to them. Like it's not like, oh, I used to listen to them and they were good. No, I still listen to, Bright Eyes. I still listen to Death Cab like on a daily if not weekly basis. um and so to kind of see like the crowd and how they were reacting, I think they kind of, both bands just kind of like fed off of that energy. And I know that Connor Oberst has like dealt with alcohol abuse, and you can tell he was completely just like drunk on stage. And those were like some of like my bucket list bands. Like I need to see these bands before I depart this earth. So I was still very grateful that I was able to see them live. And I just hope that people can take a step back and really appreciate who they were seeing. Um, because I'm sure from their perspective, they were looking out to a crowd that, wasn't really like happy to be standing there listening to them. Because right after that, I think Bring Me the Horizon came on, and then A Day to Remember. And so it's apples and oranges. Like whoever put this show together, maybe these bands could have like opened up for the Black and Pink stage earlier on in the day, and not like late at night when everyone was like geared up to go see like Paramore and My Chemical Romance. Some of the bands that I like absolutely lost it for was, of course, Taking Back Sunday and MCR. Fucking Adam Lazzara, oh my god, like I love watching him perform. um he was hilarious on stage, and they were just so good.
We are very happy to be here. We have been in Las Vegas now for 1 week. This is pretty cool. All right, good talk, everybody. Watch how good we are at doing this shit.
Of course, My Chemical Romance like fucking just blew my mind completely. Even my husband was like, no, like they're performers, like they are good at what they do. And Gerard came out and he was wearing like an all red, like I don't know, like it looked like a military suit. Mikey was wearing Kristen fucking Way, Kristen being his wife. Frank looked like, you know, a dad on stage playing. And then Ray was just like in jeans and like a white shirt. But they knocked it out of the fucking park. Every fucking song that they performed, I was singing my heart out. I felt like I overexerted myself. And, you know, 3 songs in, I was just like going crazy. They played Vampires Will Never Hurt You and Our Lady of Sorrows. And I just was probably the only one in the general admission like front line that was like just going nuts. And so it was a fun show. Like they did play their hits like I'm Not Okay, Helena, The Black Parade. um all in all, it was a good show. They ended with like shooting off like fireworks and I was like, oh my god, this is like amazing. um Getting out of the venue, we were greeted by like, I don't know how to explain it, but they were, you know, don't turn your back on God, and they were there with like their little, you know, posters and their microphones and repent. And I'm like, God, like not everyone that like listens to this music is like devil worshippers, or why would you assume that we are, or whatever, I don't know. And then as we were leaving the venue, I realized I'm like, we're walking on the boulevard right now. Like the street was like closed off just because of like the amount of people that were leaving the festival. I'm like, this is fucking crazy. And so of course we have to walk back to our car. At this time, it's like close to midnight. So we had been standing watching bands all day from probably about 3:30 in the afternoon until like 12 o'clock at night. So we stood in the general admission area in the black stage and pink stage area for like hours without going to the bathroom, without drinking water. So I'm glad that we, you know, got something to eat when we did, because if we didn't, we probably wouldn't have ate at all. And so we're making our way back to, you know, Resorts World to get back into the car. And as we're leaving the parking structure, we're just going through. So we ended up like not paying for parking. And so I'm like, oh, well, that's cool. We saved $40. All in all, it was kind of like a dream lineup, like a dream come true. My husband kind of said afterwards, like, I felt like I needed this. Like it was good for my soul. And I'm like, I couldn't have said it better, because being somebody that grew up like in the scene or like listening to like these bands like as a teenager in the early 2000s, like you couldn't have asked for like a better lineup. Um all in all, it was a great fucking day. I'm still feeling the effects of the show. 2 days later, yesterday, I tried to sleep as much as I could. My feet hurt. I know my husband's feet, like, you know, were killing him at the end of the day. For me, it's my throat. Like, I'm just like, I just feel it. I really did overexert myself, you know, singing along to like some of the bands, and I was just like, I went freaking crazy. But all in all, good show. I don't know if I will go next year, but if I do, I hope it's as fun. So that's my review for the When We Were Young tour, and I'll post some videos. All right. Thanks for listening and watching. Bye.